Good. Okay. So the title of my talk is, drum roll, Allowing the New. So, there's a line in the song, and I didn't write it down because it wasn't where I was going to start, but I heard it and I just got to talk about it. What is the line, Nora, about time wants to make... Time will always try to make you old. Anyone relate to that? The entire room except for you. Right? Time will always try to make you old. You know, today's talk is way more science of mind than I usually talk about on a Sunday. And yet, when I talk on Sunday, it's always signs of mind. It's always the science of mind because my entire already established premise of life is science of mind. So no matter what I'm saying, I'm talking science of mind. But today, I'm really going to talk about some things that Ernest Holmes brings up because I got some clarity this week about it. And I got clarity listening to this song again. So I want to start with Ernest Holmes, one of his quotes, and there's a bunch of them like this today. The greatest discovery of all time, which he puts in caps and in bold, the greatest discovery of all time, ... ellipse, 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 wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, a one-word answer, mind. The greatest discovery of all time was mind. Kind of like that guy that said, who am I and who put me here? The thinking part of our mind, right? The greatest discovery of all time. He says this, the day came when some wise man claimed that it is not the brain that does the thinking. For if the brain could think, it would keep on thinking when removed from the body. How many of you will be okay with them removing your brain and still expecting to think? Some of you, I guess so, okay. The time will come when some wise man claimed that it is not the brain that does the thinking, for if the brain could think, it would keep on thinking when removed from the body. Yet, without a brain, a man could not think, which proved, and now caps, bold, something behind the brain used it as an instrument. So somewhere in time, Ernest Holmes sat and went, something behind the brain is using it. Just like that guy, that first person that actually said, who am I? How did I get here? We got to something behind me is using me, not manipulating me, not making me do things it wants me to do, like our old concept of God, not telling me how I have to live my life, but something behind me is using me, is actually flowing through me, allowing me to use it as I choose. How loving is that? I bet every one of us wished we had parents that would just allow us throughout our entire youth to do what we wanted to do and find our own life for ourselves. I happen to be that parent, but she's not here because she had to pee, so she's not here. So tell her later that I said that. So he says, this was the discovery. This was the greatest discovery of all time, for it meant that the body without the thinker could not function. Your body, without what is behind the brain, cannot function. But that's a good news, because that means what's behind the brain is informing the body. We think our body's informing us. Oh, this just happened to me. Oh, God, and then it goes backwards. Oh, a doctor tells you something, and oh, my God. No. This, right, Virginia? This informs this. So, and I can prove it to you. About a week ago, I got on the scale, and I weighed 10 pounds than I've ever weighed in my entire life, except when I was bodybuilding, right? And I'm like, how did that happen? Who ate all that food? And I was like, this is not okay. I know exactly what I weigh. Within 6 days, I am back to exactly what I weighed. Not because I'm like this great dieter, by the way, because I understood that something out here was informing me I needed to go back to this. That's how this works. And this is not a diet class, but that's how this works. It's like the scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. And I played the scarecrow. It was one of my first parts I ever played. And now I get it. I totally get it. The whole imagery of the Wizard of Oz. The scarecrow doesn't have a brain, but it's the smartest one there because it's not the brain doing the thinking. But he spends his whole life looking for a brain. Don't we spend our whole lives being informed out here what we're supposed to be here? And we let that actually lead us and tell us what we should be doing? Clearly, Sean is way ahead of us because no one, even if they did tell him blue shoes and blue jacket, he doesn't care. He does not care because No, I actually like the look. I'm talking about some other idiot that would tell him that, not this idiot. No, because he knows, because he gets to live from his own thinker. And that's what the scarecrow did. Okay, moving along. So, something behind the brain is thinking the thoughts through the brain. So what happens to those thoughts once they're there? And this is what today is all about. Ernest Holmes said this: something happens to your thoughts, and I love that you said what you said, that it's all active. Something happens to your thoughts once you think them. They go somewhere and return to you as memory. Think about that. All of your thoughts go somewhere and return to you as memory. And then you are carrying around those memories for your entire life. Look at all the songs we hear in the world, the way we were. Memories light the corners of my mind. So the memories that you carry around are actually right there with you, lighting the corners of your mind, filling your mind, and causing you to live the life you're living based on those memories and your relationship to them. Or memory from cats. Memory all alone in the moonlight. I can dream of the old days. Life was beautiful. That was such a depressing song, isn't it? It's like even the music. Na 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 na. And then this old cat crawls out. Really like she's been through hell. And she just gets up on top of this thing and it's like, Mary, Betty Buckley. And she just starts singing this song. And I remember the first time I saw Cats, I was like, I never, ever want to be in that show. No makeup all day for me. And I thought to myself, the song, memory like the corners of, that's the other one. Memory, all alone in the moonlight, I can dream of the old days, life was beautiful then. I remember the time I knew what happiness was. Let the memory live again. So this whole idea, all the memories that you are sitting here with today are clogging up your airways. The good ones and the bad ones, if there are bad ones, the good ones and the not so good ones, all of the memories are in there. You know, when we talk about declutter, we got to declutter a lot of our memories too. They do pop up. How many of you have had a memory pop up today at all? I'm going to do it for you right now. I would like you to remember the day you graduated high school. Unless you haven't yet. Okay, can you just go back to that day? Anybody here not graduate high school? Okay, grade school. I had terrible parents. Did you graduate anything? Nothing. Okay. Your first kiss. Please tell me you've had that. Oh my God, because that's part of my talk today, the first kiss. So anybody watching the TV series Rise? Oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, there was a first kiss on Rise this week, and it was done so brilliantly, and I sat there, and I turned to Kevin, and I was like, do you remember what our first kiss felt like? And he said the most beautiful thing to me. He said, it feels like every kiss. I was like, right. Anyway. I really did. I was like, because we were both feeling that moment. But that kind of thing, there's a memory. You just pulled it up. Did you pull up whoever it was? Yeah, okay. You pull up what your day in high school, or you can all pull up your first kiss, unless you haven't had it yet. And then you can just pull up the image of Brad Pitt or someone. So all of these memories, right, remind me. In the song, there's a lyric about remind me. Remind me. Remind. Once again, pull up my mind. Remind me. So remind, bring back into my memory. Ernest Holmes says this: memory is active. It is an unconscious action of something that was once a conscious thought. Your memories are unconscious actions. They are unconscious entities that are alive and working through you because at one point it was a conscious moment, active moment. It doesn't suddenly go away. It just goes out of your conscious mind into your subconscious mind where it fills your entire mind. He says, and then he writes, all caps, all bold, one big sentence. He says, this is one of the most important conclusions which the mind of man has ever made. That his mind, her mind, is active, it is alive, there is something behind it, thinking through it, and that all thought will come back to us as memory. Everything. Which is why he says, trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. The untrained thought is all of those memories. The trained thought is what you are allowing your mind, choosing to focus on right here and right now. No matter what happens, no matter what is going on, you can choose your mind to focus on the truth of it. So the title of my talk, as I said, is Allowing the New. In the lyrics that Nora sang, she said, you remind me what I used to know. You remind me what I used to know. Back before I created so many memories and started living from those memories. There was a time when you used to know everything. The entire universe was yours. Little children, when you look at a baby, when you look at a little child, when it's just learning how to crawl, climb up onto its feet, it's like everything's possible. That we all remember back to then if we actually go there. There is that in your mind that was ready to just see the whole world. Our job is to recognize what the memories represent in our mind. There's the work. So I have a memory for you. So last night, it was a little warm. It felt a little warm in our bedroom, and Kevin said, we have this brand new bedroom with brand new doors. Why don't we just open the door and let the screen, because we have these screens now, what a revolutionary idea, let the air come in through the screen. So he did. He got up and he opened it, and I was just laying there, and our tree still had its light on it. It was just this beautiful image. All of a sudden, this memory just came charging through me of when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old in downtown Philadelphia. My grandparents lived on the same street, both sets of grandparents, and they had these 4-story row houses right behind the Franklin Institute, right in downtown, right where Rocky ran up the steps. The Art Museum was out the left side of the house. The Franklin Institute was here, right there in Center City. And I remember this night I was sleeping on the top floor in this really hot bedroom, and my aunt had the screen open, and it was just all you could hear were the cars from the freeway going by and the sounds. And he opened that door, the screen came in, and I went, oh, I remember that feeling. And I remember getting up that night and going over and standing, looking out that screen and seeing the Art Museum, seeing the Franklin Institute, and seeing the Parkway with all these cars going, and thinking to myself, just thinking, I just can't wait to get out there and be and do. You remember when you were really little and all you thought of was like, yeah, I can't wait till these parents let go of me and get me out there so I can do what I want to do. So I'm laying there, and I thought, I could get stuck in this memory, because I knew what I was talking about today, obviously. I was like, there's the memory. And I hadn't really found the one I wanted to talk about. And there it was at midnight with the screen being open. And I thought, I need to get up. So I got up, and I walked over to my screen, just like I did then, and I looked out, and I was like, is there any difference? I'm going to get all emotional here. Is there any difference in me today than there was with me at 4? Yeah, I've lived a very long life. It's been like almost 60 years since that moment. And all those memories are cluttering up my mind. I get it. And all these things have told me who I am. But is there any difference between that 4-year-old boy and this 63-year-old man standing in front of a screen, looking at the most amazing world before me and thinking, yeah, I'm going to get out there and do what I need to do? No, unless I let there be. No, unless I identify with all these memories and have them add up to, this is who I am. I'm a person that does this at this time, and I live this way. That was the gift. And I stood there, and Kevin's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just reliving. And then I went, wait, no, I'm not reliving, I'm living. He was like, how about sleeping? And I did go to bed and sleep, thank God. But that's what I wanted to come here and talk to you about today. Ernest Holmes gives us all the background we need to understand what these memories are. It is that thing behind our brain that is thinking us, that is moving, allowing us to live it, and it is all the memories that we've stored up, and all we need to do is find, when those memories come up, not get lost in them, We got a package in the mail this week. It was a new CD. It's a gorgeous, real big, thick CD, 3 CDs of the works of Tom Jones and Harvey Schmidt, who wrote The Fantastics, and I Do on Broadway, and 110 in the Shade, and so many different shows. And I thought, oh, how sweet, they sent this to me. I directed one of their plays, and I starred in 2 of their musicals. And then I opened it up, and I'm looking through it, and there's a picture of me in a play I did off-Broadway. And I was so young and so handsome. Thank you. And yeah, I am still, thank you. And this jawline, and it was just this picture. I was like, of course I've showed everybody that came near me. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, that is so sweet of them to include me. It was from the off-Broadway production of Colette Collage. And I'm moving through it, and then another picture of me in another show. And in this picture, it really caught me off guard because, what did you say, Nora? Said you were so beefy back then, or something. It was something like you were really hunky. And it's a picture of me whatever, you didn't say hunky. What daughter says that to her father? I heard hunky. So okay, back to the talk. So I'm looking at this picture, and I've got this kind of crazy hair and this full goatee and this body. They put me in this tight shirt, and I've got suspenders because I'm a turn of the century tightrope walker. And I'm like, and I had a moment, and this is what I'm getting to for you to do with your memories. I had a very bittersweet moment. Remember, I was also working on losing those 10 pounds that mysteriously appeared. It had nothing to do with the Haagen-Dazs I eat every night before I go to bed. I'm not giving that up. So I'm looking at this picture, and I felt a little. Do you ever look at a picture of yourself when you're really like young and gorgeous, and you're just like, oh wow, I used to look like that, young and gorgeous. And I'm like, wow. And then I literally took it home when I got home, and I went into the bathroom in the full-length mirror, put on some pants that were really tight and a nice tight t-shirt. I was like, not much has changed. This is how you should use your mind. I was like, not much has changed, but has it? And I let that memory talk to me, because I remember when I was in that chapter of my life, and I remember not feeling as secure, as confident, as truly authentic as I feel today. And I thought to myself, that person was amazing. And this person is even more amazing. Let that inform you about this. Don't get stuck over here. Don't get stuck here saying, God, I used to be young. God, I used to really look like that. God, I used to be a Broadway star. People would fight over hiring me for shows. Now, people are fighting me, telling me, don't sing that song. So there's the message. This is fine. It's part of who you are. Every one of you has thousands of these in your brain, but when they come up, do not let them derail you. Do not let them turn you into something less than you are, because you need to allow the new. Until you are willing to be that boy at that screen at 4, seeing the world as fully possible, remembering that everything is new, everything is possible, everything that I want to create is mine to create. That's who you truly are. That is your true, authentic self. Nothing is beyond the scope of what you can create in your life. I don't care if you are 63. I don't care if you're 83. I don't care if you're 103. You know, this woman here, Jo Jordan, she has had an amazing life. She won't tell you about it, so I will. But when you go to her house for dinner, which I so lovingly did one night, I'm walking around her apartment, her condo, and there's all these pictures. I was like, excuse me, is this you and Marlon Brando? And she was like, oh yeah, that was when we did Guys and Dolls, the movie. I was like, wow. So there she is with Marlon Brando, and then there are other ones I think there's one with you and Frank Sinatra. Is it Frank? Frankie, I'm sorry for you. You know, Gene Simmons, all these movie stars, and then there are the picture of you and the pole that you slid down. She was a showgirl in one movie, and she had a little thing bumping out of her, and she just slid down a fire pole, and they took a picture. And I'm like, oh my God, this is Jo Jordan? Yeah, it is. And here's the deal. Jo is just about to turn 90. And she has all these pictures, right? She has all these pictures on her wall that shows her who she is. But you know what? The 90-year-old Jo Jordan is the same woman that slid down that pole wearing almost nothing. You're going to enjoy fellowship afterwards. Right? That's who you are. That's who I am. I am still the 4-year-old. I am still the 40-year-old. I am still the 63-year-old. And when I'm 103, I will still be the 4-year-old. Only we let all those memories turn us into someone else. You know, don't get caught up in all the melodramatic songs about memories, right? Who was I back then? Who am I now? Your job is to allow the new. Because as Sean said, mind is always creating. What do you want it to create from? Because you're the one that decides that. You're the one that decides what your mind is going to create and how it's going to create. You can let it create from feeling bad about yourself, or you can let it create from knowing who you are. You're a choice. I'm a choice. We are always at choice. We can allow the new in every moment that we remember who we are. And when I remember that I am the very creativity of God and that something through me, behind me, no, actually that is me, is creating and says to me, allow me to take you to the highest place that you could possibly be. Because by the way, that's who we are. Come on, let's create from that. Let's allow the new. Let's celebrate the old, but let's allow the new from the celebration and then let ourselves just live life to the fullest. Namaste.